Welcome, viewers. Step into a silent battlefield where no bullets fly, yet entire nations can fall.
Imagine a weapon small enough to fit on a drive, yet powerful enough to tear apart a nuclear plant.
In 2010, a silent virus named Stuxnet breached Iran, changing modern warfare forever. This is the tale of Unit 8200, Israel's cyber army, and their deadly digital game. When hackers strike our water supplies, we must ask, are we ready for a digital apocalypse? For decades, the Middle East has been a volatile powder keg, driven by intense nuclear ambitions. Nations relied on jets, tanks, and spies to maintain their fragile borders and project military power. However, as the digital age advanced, a new domain of combat quietly emerged from the shadows. Cyberspace quickly became the ultimate unseen battleground, where invisible forces clashed daily. According to intelligence reports, Israel realized early that future wars would be fought with code. They formed Unit 8200, a secret intelligence agency composed of young, brilliant minds. Recruited right out of high school, these teenage analysts possessed unparalleled hacking abilities. Operating from hidden underground bunkers, they monitored massive streams of global communications. Their primary target was Iran, a nation aggressively pursuing a controversial nuclear program. Meanwhile, in Tehran, the elite cyber commanders of the Quds Force were also preparing for war. Iranian state hackers began scanning the digital perimeters of their enemies day and night. They operated in deep shadows, utilizing complex networks of proxy servers to mask their origins. The early stages of this conflict were quiet, resembling a cautious game of digital chess in the dark. Blue team analysts analyzed terabytes of encrypted data, searching for the slightest anomaly. Every data packet traveling across the region became a potential weapon of covert espionage. The tactical diorama of cyberspace showed steady, pulsing connections, but tension was rapidly building. Red Team operators carefully probed Israeli banks, searching for any unprotected network gateways. They wanted to disrupt the economy, to strike fear into the hearts of the civilian population. But Unit 8200 was always watching, patching vulnerabilities before they could be exploited. This relentless digital defense required extreme focus, with analysts working grueling, sleepless shifts. Archives suggest this era was merely the calm before an unprecedented technological storm. Both sides knew that a massive escalation was inevitable. It was simply a matter of when and how. Iran continued to enrich uranium, hiding their centrifuges deep beneath the mountains of Natanz. Direct airstrikes in these heavily fortified underground facilities were considered far too risky. A conventional bombing run could trigger a massive regional war, dragging multiple nations into chaos. Israel and its allies needed a surgical, silent solution to sabotage the nuclear program. The concept of using malicious code as an alternative to kinetic explosives began to take shape. The tactical board was set, and the first lines of the most destructive malware in history were written. By 2010, the digital cat-and-mouse game escalated into aggressive infiltration. Iran's intelligence successfully breached several key Israeli research facilities. They stole valuable research data, attempting to reverse engineer advanced technological designs. The Red Team shifted from passive observation to active intellectual property theft. In response,
Unit 8200 launched sophisticated counteroffensives across the network. Israeli hackers pierced Iran's internal communication grids without any detection. They carefully monitored the clandestine financial flows funding the dangerous Quds Force operations. The blue team's screens flashed intensely as they gathered crucial intelligence on enemy troop movements. Standard digital espionage could not halt the spinning of the deadly nuclear centrifuges. A joint operation between American and Israeli forces birthed a terrifying weapon. In a secure underground bunker, the final malicious lines of the Stuxnet virus were compiled. This was not a simple program designed to steal passwords or crash basic computer operating systems. Stuxnet was a highly complex cyber missile, engineered to cause severe physical destruction. It specifically targeted industrial control frameworks used to manage heavy machinery. The malware hologram glowed with a toxic neon intensity, waiting to be unleashed upon the world. The challenge was delivering the payload into the Natanz facility, which was disconnected. Known as an air-gapped system, the nuclear plant had no direct connection to the global internet. To bridge this physical gap, spies used infected thumb drives carried by unsuspecting local workers. Once plugged into a local computer, the stealthy worm began its silent, unstoppable infiltration. The code acted like a digital phantom, bypassing sophisticated antivirus software with total ease. It ruthlessly hunted for specific Siemens controllers attached to the uranium centrifuges. The tactical diorama now displayed the malware spreading like a glowing green infection through the network. Stuxnet was designed to be incredibly patient, observing operations for weeks before finally acting. It secretly recorded sensor data, creating a deceptive loop to feed back to the operators. The Iranian engineers staring at their screens saw only green lights and perfectly normal speeds. They had absolutely no idea that deep within the machinery, a catastrophic failure was imminent. If you discovered your entire facility was compromised by invisible code, what would be your first move? The tension in the blue team's bunker reached its absolute peak as the execution command was triggered. Suddenly, the invisible weapon violently manipulated the rotational speed of the heavy metal rotors. The massive industrial centrifuges spun wildly out of control, tearing themselves apart from the inside. Sharp metal shattered, sparks flew, and thick smoke filled the bunker as nearly 1,000 machines were destroyed. The physical destruction was unprecedented, a definitive milestone in the history of modern warfare. Stuxnet proved that computer code could cause catastrophic kinetic damage, changing global security. The Iranian nuclear program was significantly delayed, dealing a massive psychological blow to the state. However, releasing such a powerful weapon into the wild carried severe, unintended consequences. The malicious code eventually escaped the facility, spreading across the globe and exposing its secrets. More importantly, it showed the world, including Iran, exactly how to build a destructive cyber weapon. Outraged by the attack, the Iranian state hackers reorganized, hungry for an equally deadly revenge. The Red Team commander, his face illuminated by harsh warning lights, initiated a bold retaliation. If their military facilities were no longer safe, they would aggressively target civilian infrastructure. A new wave of hostile digital strikes flooded Israeli networks, bypassing traditional defense mechanisms. The battlefield expanded dramatically, moving from isolated military bunkers to public utilities.
In a chilling escalation, Iranian operatives breached the digital controls of an Israeli water plant. They manipulated the chemical pressure valves, attempting to dramatically increase the chlorine levels. The massive industrial pipes vibrated violently under the strain, digital gauges flashing bright red. This was a direct attempt to poison the civilian water supply, transforming malware into a lethal tool. Unit 8. 200 analysts scrambled desperately to regain control and avert a mass casualty event. Through swift intervention, they managed to stabilize the pressure and secure the compromised water pumps. The crisis was narrowly averted, but the terrifying message sent by the Red Team was exceptionally clear. Cyberspace was no longer just about espionage or data theft. It was now a realm of kinetic warfare. Civilian infrastructure, the very lifeblood of a modern society, had become a valid military target. The tactical diorama of the Middle East now glowed with the chaotic red and blue of total digital war. Power grids, transportation networks, and hospitals were suddenly thrust onto the dangerous front lines. The boundary between the physical and the virtual was permanently erased in this terrifying new era. Every citizen, oblivious to the invisible data streams above them, was now living in a potential crossfire. If hospitals and power grids are targeted, where exactly do we draw the line for a proportional response? Today, the silent cyber war continues relentlessly, shaping the terrifying era of modern combat. Analysts in Unit 8200 sit exhausted but vigilant, scanning a sea of chaotic data screens. The attacks have evolved beyond simple malware, incorporating artificial intelligence and automated strikes. Algorithms now hunt opposing algorithms at the speed of light, making split-second tactical decisions. Groups like the predatory Sparrow have repeatedly launched devastating retaliatory campaigns. In a dramatic display of power, hacktivists targeted an Iranian steel facility, causing a physical fire. They leaked the security footage online, proving that destruction could be commanded from a keyboard. These constant skirmishes show the extreme volatility of our hyper-connected global society. Nations are spending billions to build robust virtual walls, trying to defend against invisible armies. The conflict now includes zero-day mercenaries, selling critical vulnerabilities to the highest bidder. We are witnessing an ongoing shadowy siege, where the next catastrophic blow could strike at any moment. Governments worldwide are racing to secure their highly vulnerable civilian networks today. A single compromised password could plunge a massive metropolis into absolute darkness. The red and blue teams continue to clash, learning and evolving from every single cyber attack. Israel relies on deep technological superiority and advanced AI tools. Meanwhile, Iran utilizes vast networks of proxy hackers to overwhelm those robust defenses. The tactical map flickers with constant, silent strikes across the interconnected financial grids. We are entering an unpredictable phase, where the concept of national borders simply disappears. A cyber weapon has no physical footprint, making counterattacks a legally complex nightmare. Deterrence in the digital age requires absolute vigilance and continuous offensive strength. Unit Away 200 remains on constant high alert, anticipating the enemy's next major move. Natanz proved that perfect digital security is merely a highly dangerous illusion. As code becomes more lethal, the threat of a catastrophic global cyber war increases rapidly.
The glowing screens of Tehran and Tel Aviv are permanently locked in a silent, deadly stalemate. Every connected device, from power grids to hospitals, is a target on the battlefield. The ultimate question remains hanging over this intense, multi-domain digital conflict today. With proxy hackers and advanced malware, what exactly is Iran's ultimate master plan in this age? We've seen how code can destroy machines and threaten lives. The cyber battlefield has no borders and no limits. Is targeting civilian infrastructure with malware a war crime? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more digital battlefields. This concludes our transmission. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and always protect your digital network.